Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm doing a Maneater Bug Krawler test hand video. So I'm really excited for this one because this is actually for Izzy. This is actually a Patreon request along with the deck profile that you can check out down in the description below, which is a really cool reward that you can get over on Patreon. If you guys don't know about the rewards that we have over on Patreon, we have it where you can get a deck profile every single month that you are a patron and test hands to go along with the deck profile, and you get a shout out in both videos, which is super exciting. We also have it where you guys can get a signed card sent to the mail, and also your name description of every single DarkArmedDuelist video if you guys check that down in the description. So, without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this one. So, this is a really interesting deck that I kind of was challenged to make. That was actually, the only instruction that I had for this deck was build a deck using Maneater Bug and Nobleman Eater Bug. And I was like, well, there's like 4 decks that I could throw this into. The first one that I thought about was Giant Ballpark. I thought about putting it in Giant Ballpark and working around with that and having a surprise destruction. And then I was like, I tested it out and I was like, nah, this is a little bit breaky. So I changed it out. Then I thought, man, I don't know what else to do. And I started talking to my other DarkArmedAlliance members where I have my team that's kind of local. And I found out one of them suggested, Willie actually suggested, you've seen him in live duels before if you've watched any of the live duels on the channel. He was like, hey, put it in Krawler. And I was like, that's really smart. Let's do that. So I actually built this one for Izzy for the Patreon request, and I decided to put him in Krawlers. So let's go ahead and do some, let's go ahead and pile shuffle this really quick. And there is actually the 2 cards that I was actually commissioned to basically put together in a deck, which is what's really, really, really cool about the deck. I actually pile shuffle face up when I pile shuffle, and I'm just doing random stuff, because if I pile shuffle face up, I can kind of move. If I get like 2 copies of Maneater Bug here, I can move like one to the next stack, which is something that I do when I actually pile shuffle when it's just me. But I'm going to do it like we're actually pile shuffling so you guys see that it's a total random, no brick, no nothing with this deck. It's going to be a lot of, I'm going to warn you guys, it's going to be a lot of set, pass, flip, activate effect, go off. Like, that's just the way the deck works. The field spell is where it's really at, and you're basically trying to control the board with this deck. So let's go ahead and see if we can just instantly Destiny draw a Maneater Bug right off the top of the deck, which happened a lot when I was playtesting this. So let's go ahead and focus that camera really quick and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a Krawler Spine, which is pretty much Maneater Bug because it has the same exact effect as Maneater Bug. When it's flip face up, you destroy a monster, target it, and destroy it. We draw into Crusadia Krawler, which is Spine as well. Pawns, Judgment, and another Judgment. That's not bad actually at all for this deck. So if we were going second, which you usually want to go first, you would draw into a Krawler, this Krawler right here. But let's go ahead and play out this test hand. We're going to play out a lot of the test hands in this video. So we're going to go ahead and set this card, and we're going to go ahead and set all these cards in our back row, which is going to be super helpful for the actual strategy. So if we let our opponent go, what we're going to do is we're going to have both the Solomons for negation. We're going to have the World Legacy Pawns, and we're going to have the Crusadia Krawler, which can actually summon itself to your side of the field and let you add from your deck to your hand a World Legacy card, which is really cool. So if you summon this to your side of the field, we're going to go ahead and go through each one. We're going to go ahead and summon this, which is going to let you add your World Legacy and Shadow, which is the big field spell that you always want to grab from your deck to your hand, which is super helpful to be able to get from your deck to your hand, because if you add it from deck to hand, you can special summon a Krawler monster or a level 2 insect monster, which a Maneater Bug falls into that, from your hand in face down defense position, which is going to help out a lot to be able to use their flip effects. You then have the copies of Judgment set that can give you 2 negations, and you have the World Legacy Pawns that let you target a face-up monster you control, change it to face-up attack or defense, and then shuffle a Krawler monster from your graveyard into your main deck, and then you can target 1 face-up monster you control and change it to face down defense position. So basically, if you have a Krawler in your graveyard, after this one gets destroyed, you can start flip-flopping your Krawler Spine, which is really cool to be able to just instantly flip-flop and be able to pop a card, set it on your turn, flip summon it, pop another card, set it back with this, and then you can just keep using it like a really, really good Ghost Trick Scare, which is what's really, really nice about this. And then the copy of your World Legacy and Shadow is going to boost up their attack, which is what's really cool about this deck. I will mention, you guys, this deck is all about grinding. So if you don't see the potential in the particular test hand, keep in mind it is a grind deck. You're trying to outlast your opponent until you can get like 6 crawlers on the field and be able to deal with your opponent. It's very Ghost Trick-ish, where you're trying to deal with your opponent and basically last them out a couple of turns, maybe 10 to 12 turns, and go in. Now, some duels, you'll get them in 6. Some duels, you'll get them in 3, and you'll just make them rage, and they won't have anything left. But I will mention, you guys, this deck is very, very, very grinding, which is what you need to keep in mind when going into this. So let's go ahead and cut that deck really quick and see what we can draw. So we're going to draw into a World Legacy Mind Meld, a copy of that Krawler, Axion, Wormbait, and a copy of Drite. So this is not a terrible hand at all. If we were going second, I'll just reveal it to you guys. We're going to draw into a Mind Meld, which is going to be helpful, but not quite what we need right off the bat. So I would probably hold on to the Wormbait, and I would just go ahead and set the Mind Meld, because when a Krawler monster, when an opponent's monster activates its effect while you control a Krawler monster, you can activate the effect of return one face-up monster your opponent controls to the hand. So you can set this and then normal summon literally any Krawler, which could be I would normal summon the biggest one, which is Drite, and then you can just pass. Because with this particular field, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you have the negation from the Mind Meld to bounce this back, and then the shared ability of all of your Krawlers have the ability that when this card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 2 Krawlers with different names from your deck and face down defense. So I can literally pick any 2 Krawlers, which would usually be Spine and the Receptor. Because if you summon these 2 onto your side of the field, you're going to get to add and pop a card, which is what's really cool about this effect. Then, this has the ability that you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target one link monster on the field and special summon a Krawler monster from your hand or deck or graveyard to zone it points to and face down defense position, which is going to help us out again to get us another Krawler on our side of the field. So if we pass at this point and our opponent's just still going in their turn, you have the 2 copies and you'll get to pop a card and you'll get to use the copy of a Receptor to be able to add another Krawler from deck to hand, which could be literally any other Krawler that you need. I believe it's just a Krawler monster. Yeah, it's just Krawler monsters that you get to add off of this card, which could be Axion if you're dealing with spells and traps. It could be a copy of your Spine. It could be a copy of Ravener. I would probably add from deck to hand, if I was going to grab one, I would probably add my Spine, because you kind of need that to stand. It might help to actually have that, because if you don't have your Spine, it's just not going to work very well. So let's go ahead and shuffle that deck up really quick. Yeah, there's your dad joke of the video, guys. There's one, at least one, in every test hand. At least one. If you get lucky, sometimes you get 2 dad jokes. I mean, let's be honest, they're all dad jokes. Let's just get into this. So anyways, I'm going to shut up now and go ahead and do this test hand. So we're going to send these to the graveyard and act like they got destroyed, and we're going to go into our next turn. And we're going to top deck a Man-Eater Bug, because I'm good like that. And we're going to go ahead and activate the copy of Wormbait. Now you have the copy of Wormbait that you can trigger and then special summon out 2 tokens to your side of the field, which I'm just going to use 2 cards out of sleeve to be able to do this, to just show you guys that we have tokens. Now keep in mind, you can't special summon anything that's level 3 or level 4 while you're doing this, but hey, you know what? We're not going to special summon anything that's level 3 and level 4. Everything that we play is level 2 or level 5. That's not a big deal. You can also use these tokens to tribute for your No Man-Eater Bug, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, you can just do that. I mean, it just instantly lets you summon those level 4. You can tribute summon with these 2, which is what's really, really cool. I like that effect. And you have to control an insect monster to do that, but that's really easy. You can normal summon out your copy of Man-Eater Bug and then flash that at your opponent, and you're going to instantly rage quit. Like, you just normal summon a Man-Eater Bug against them. Are you really going to keep playing against me? We're going to go ahead, like, I have flex points on you. We're going to go ahead and link these away, and link away your 2 copies of your Wormbait tokens, and you're going to summon out a copy of literally any of your XYZ monsters that you want to summon. You could summon out your copy of Mrs. Radiant, you could summon out a copy of Phoenix, you could even go for Unicorn if you want to, or we can actually climb into a copy of Boral Sword later on if you really want to. That's actually just one of the proxy cards. I'm doing a Phantom Knight one in a minute. So if that one comes out first, hey, you gotta one up on me. You got to see that I'm doing a Phantom Knight test hand. You go into Phoenix, or I would probably recommend going into probably one of your Krawler Link monsters. I would probably go in for this one right here. And then you have the copy of your Man-Eater Bug on your side of the field that you can link away if you want to. But You also have in the graveyard your copy of Mind Meld that you can use if you get your other crawler monster out on your side of the field. But we can't right now, but you did normal summon out. So you can pass to your opponent or you attack them for 19 and go after them if you want to. But if you want to just wait it out, you can pass, because if this card is destroyed, is destroyed by battle, it gains, or can be destroyed, crawler monster can be destroyed by battle, this card points to, and it also has the ability that if this card is destroyed by battle or and leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect or by an opponent's card, then you can special summon 2 crawler monsters with different names from your graveyard and special summon them face down defense. So I'm basically just playing this to be able to go into my other crawler monsters, which is what you're trying to do. So if you get this destroyed, then you just immediately put your other 2 crawlers back on the field that you used, and you get them back pretty much for free. That's going to get you 2 flips and get you more plays off. You're basically trying to annoy your opponent until they quit, which is the way that this deck works, to be perfectly honest with you. And it works because it's exactly like the Maneater Bug card, because literally Spine, this card right here, and Maneater Bug are the exact same, except this is a crawler monster and has the added effect, and this is just Maneater Bug. They both destroy a monster when they're flip face up. This is just kind of like an older version of Spine. This is like Spine's big brother, if you will. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and go into another test hand and see if we can instantly Destiny draw out that Maneater Bug. You don't really have a super good way of searching it, but if you hard draw into it, it's basically a crawler in disguise, which is what's really cool about Maneater Bug in this deck. But you're basically just setting a bunch of cards and seeing how many negates you can establish and then passing against your opponent and grinding it out. What's really funny is when you have 2 or 3 crawlers set and your opponent just lightning storms you, or Raigekis you, Raigekis or Dark Holes you, and then you special summon out like 5 crawlers from the deck, and it's like, whoa, wait, I made a mistake. I smashed that bug and I shouldn't have. So let's go ahead and see what we can do in this next test hand. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle it up, cut the deck. I'm feeling pretty good about this. We're going to get Axion, Mind Meld, Wormbait, World Legacy Survivor, and a Judgment. That's not bad. Okay. So with this particular hand, I would probably right off the bat go ahead and do World Legacy Survivor, which lets you excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, which is pretty cool. And then you get to add a crawler, monster, or World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. And also you put the remaining cards in the graveyard, which is not that bad to be able to send them to the graveyard. So we're going to look at this, and that's pretty good because getting these in the graveyard is really good. You're actually sending 2 of the 3 cards that you really want in the graveyard, because these cards can be banished for crawler effects. We're going to go ahead and add Receptor, which is what I would probably grab, and then you send these 2 crawlers to the graveyard, which is going to help you get set up really easily. Now, if you hold on to the Wormbait, you can actually set the Receptor and then set all these cards face down, and then your Receptor is going to trigger, which is what's really cool about this. You pass to your opponent's going to activate a monster effect. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh! That's how it works. You have the Judgment as a negate, and you have technically the Mind Meld because it changes the effect to target a monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. Because when an opponent's monster activates effect while you control a crawler monster, you can activate this card, becomes return 1 face-up monster on the field. So you could normal summon this out if you just want to normal summon this out, and then use this and send it to the graveyard. So you have 1 negate, 2 negate, send this to the graveyard, and then special summon 2 crawlers. Summon your copy of Spine, because you need that to walk, and special summon out a copy of, I'd probably summon out, you can't summon out Receptor off of it. You can't special summon the same one. You special summon a crawler from your hand to graveyard and face up attack. I'd probably summon out this, because it's going to get you additional advantage when it's flip face up. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle that up really quick, and this will go to the graveyard. I believe it's once per turn as well. You can only use 1 effect of it, yeah. So we're going to basically have it 3 times every single turn, which is what's really cool about this. If your opponent does attack into you, they've already lost 1 monster, had 2 negates against them. They're going to lose another monster because they're going to get popped, and they're going to go ahead and you're going to get to special summon another crawler, which can be your copy of Axion, or you can special summon a crawler from the graveyard, which guess what we did not trigger, which is our copy of Receptor that you can set back to your side of the field, because this was flip face up. Gila was flip face up and it lets you special summon a crawler from your hand to graveyard and face up attack or face down defense. If this now gets attacked, which I don't know how many monsters our opponent has, let's just say that they didn't attack into it, you get to draw, and you draw into Spine. You flip face up your copy of Receptor, and then Receptor will then let you trigger and add from your deck to your hand. This card is always on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and add from deck to hand a crawler monster, which is going to be any of your crawler monsters. It doesn't really matter which one you grab. You could grab Drite if you want to grab Drite, because I'm probably just going to normal summon it out and link it away. You can go ahead and do this. Activate your Wormbait, give you 2 more tokens on your side of the field to do this right here. Get your 2 tokens on your side of the field, and then link the token, or link, probably normal summon that out first. Then link these away, summon out your Quarliark, and then link these 2 away for a copy of your, this. And then you have 2 big bodies on the field that you can attack your opponent. If you pass and these don't get destroyed, you draw World Legacy Survivor, excavate the top 5. Also, I'm forgetting something. Not you, I'm forgetting it. You can actually banish from your graveyard Mind Meld. You can banish Mind Meld, and since you have a zone here and a zone here, you can actually special summon back your Receptor, which is what's really cool about this, and put it back on your side of the field, because it has the ability that you can target a link monster on the field and special summon a crawler monster in your hand, deck, or graveyard into a zone it points to in face down defense position. I'd probably special summon from my deck by banishing, because if you special summon from the deck, then you're thinning the deck so you can get to your Maneater Bug even faster. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up really quick and see what we can get for our draw for turn. If we're drawing for turn, we're going to go and get a copy of Crusadia Crawler. You can set that. Normal summon out your copy of Axion. Flip summon out your copy of Receptor. Receptor will trigger, letting you add a copy of your Gila. Shuffle out the deck again, and then link these 2 together again, and summon out your copy of your other Crawler Link monster. And then guess what we have in the graveyard again? Mind Meld. You can banish the Mind Meld, and then special summon a Crawler from your deck, which can be any Crawler that you want it to be. I probably would pick, at this point, one that could special summon a little bit, or I'd probably pick one that could special summon. I'd probably special summon Gila. I'd special summon the Gila from graveyard and set it to my side of the field. And now you have this really insane board where this can't be destroyed. This has the ability that it's making all of your crawlers gain 300 attack and defense, and then it also has the ability that your opponent's card effects cannot be activated during the battle phase if you control 4, and if you have 6, then they can attack directly. So let's go ahead and draw into another hand and see what we can actually pull off. So that's what's really cool about this deck, is you can just include Maneater Bug in the deck and it works for the deck. It makes it really, really neat to really have that nostalgia effect, and they're all kind of like Maneater Bug because they flip and they activate different effects, which is what's really super cool about this. Let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up again and see what we can actually draw. The only thing that I've considered putting in here is maybe 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. I thought about putting Extravagance or copies of Desires in here because there's not a particular card that you really have to get to in this deck, which is what's really, really, really cool about the deck. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can get. So we're going to go ahead and draw into Mind Meld, a copy of Shadows, a copy of Gila, a copy of Mind Meld, and then a copy of Pawns. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to get a copy of Maneater Bug because I really want to show you guys the potential of Maneater Bug with this hand. So if you get that copy of Maneater Bug in your hand and you're going second, you can do something really cool by activating your copy of World Legacy Shadows, set your Gila, and then activate the effect of Shadows, which lets you special summon a level 2 insect monster in face down defense, which gets you your Maneater Bug on your side of the field. You then have all these cards that you can set, which you could normal summon out your copy of Gila if you want to, and then you have the Mind Meld face down that could get you a play. Or you could leave the Gila face down like this, but it's not going to get you that extra play. I would probably normal summon it because the Maneater Bug is going to back you up the other way. So you're going to go ahead and pass, and then you also have the copy of World Legacy Pawns, which has the ability that you can target a face down monster and change the face of attack. Which is going to be really cool to be able to flip your Maneater Bug mid-combo, pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, and then go off from there. It also lets you shuffle a Crawler from your graveyard into your deck, which is really good as well. This card's really good to be able to flip-flop your monsters, like I said before, but being able to flip Maneater Bug mid-combo is really neat. Then if you go into your next turn, because you're going to be able to use this, go ahead and send this to the graveyard off the Mind Meld. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you have a pop and you have a negate, which is kind of cool. You're going to go ahead and special summon out your Receptor, which is what I would always summon off that card, and summon out your copy of Spine, which is also kind of like a copy of your Maneater Bug. It's kind of like a pseudo Maneater Bug for this deck. Go ahead and shuffle the deck up, and then let your opponent go. And then they pass, you draw your turn, you draw on a Gila, And now you flip. You flip these, Receptor's going to trigger, Spine's going to trigger, and you're going to have to go to a chiropractor because your spine triggered. And we're going to go ahead and see what we can get. Let's go ahead and go with the copy of Axion. Add the Axion from deck to hand. You then could normal summon if you wanted to. And normal summon out a copy of your Axion, and then you can start link summoning from here. If you want to go ahead and link summon these together, and you also have the copy of Gila that can be special summoned off the copy of World Legacy and Shadow, face down, because then you can flip it with Pawn, and then it'll trigger. But let's go ahead and finish our link summon, which you're going to summon Quarliark. Then you can use the copy of Shadows, flip it face up, or use the copy of Pawn and flip it face up to trigger its effect to special summon out a copy of Drite or any of your crawler monsters. And then you can link these away. Link these two away, summon this, and then link these two away and summon out your copy of your other copy of your crawler monster. Let them point to one another so they have boosted abilities. And you also have in the graveyard your copy of your Mind Meld, which you can banish and then special summon a crawler monster to a zone and link monster points to in face down defense, which is really cool. So go ahead and banish that Mind Meld, put this here, and then special summon a crawler monster from your deck, which I would probably, again, special summon out the Gila or the copy of Spine, and depending on which one you wanted, I'd probably summon out the Gila and go from there. Go ahead and shuffle that deck up really quick. And then you got plays for days, because you also have your copy of Mind Meld that you can trigger if your opponent activates any monster effects, flip your Gila, and then get another crawler on your side of the field. And that's pretty much it. You can really start filling up the field with this, because you're going to get 2 more crawlers here, and then you're going to special summon as well, which is just really, really nice. And then this is making them all go up by 300. This is making them all go up again by 300, and then 300, and then 300, which is really, really good. This is like a really good board for the deck. And that's basically how you incorporate Maneater Bug into a crawler deck. You can, if you at any point draw the Noble Maneater Bug and you have a monster on your side of the field, what I recommend for that, since we didn't draw it in the test hand, is World Legacy Pawns. You can actually flip this when it's set. You can disrupt your opponent if it's set, and then flip it and be able to target 2 cards on your opponent's side of the field and destroy them, or 2 monsters on the field and destroy them, which is super nice to be able to do. So you have plays still. So that's it for the Maneater Bug Crawler deck profile, or not deck profile, but the Maneater Bug Crawler test hands for you guys. And if you want to see the deck profile, it is down in the description below. And this one was actually for Izzy over on Patreon. So I really appreciate Izzy for the donation to the channel, and I'm really glad that I was actually able to provide this deck to you. I really hope that you have fun playing with your Maneater Bug, and it's a really, really fun, but don't get too close to it, it might eat you. But anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell near so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.